Welcome into the Paul Farrington Show. Paul joined alongside Jack Weinberger and Robert Ziggy Ziegler at the University of Virginia. And Ziggy, how about we clap it up for the Minnesota Vikings this week? What a win. What a win.
We tried to tell him, Paul. We tried to tell him.
And the Vegas Raiders, where my Uncle Jeff is here watching the game. Clap up.
Shout out Uncle Jeff. Shout out Uncle Jeff.
Huge upset over the Ravens. Jack, that was you again.
We hate those Ravens too. So
Jack,
I was happy about
just
that.
Just amazing this season. Just amazing.
I don't lose. I don't miss. What can I say?
There has to be a time when it comes crashing down, but as of right now, you were a huge anti-Caleb Williams. He had a bad game. Bryce Young looks just it's brutal in Carolina. You had the Vikings at 5-0, and here we are 2-0. Ravens stink. I mean, this guy's I don't know what comes out of your mouth, but somehow it just magically works.
I mean, I'm the greatest mind in the history of football.
You might be right now.
People will disagree, but I knew it all along, and keep disagreeing. That's all I can say. Keep disagreeing.
Absolutely crazy. So everyone, please remember to like, comment, and subscribe to our channel. We're having a lot of fun early in this football season, even though we know usually comes crashing and burning down on us, but right now we're having a good time. We're gonna go through a few games here. We'll start off. We're going to start off with the Saints or the Packers. Some of these crazier games and bigger audiences we have. But all of a sudden, midway through that Viking game, as I'm sitting there watching the Vikings up 27, I'm thinking to myself, all right, we're about to put our foot down on the 49ers' throat, and we're going to lead with the Minnesota Vikings routing the San Francisco 49ers in week 2. And typical Vikings. I mean, Ziggy, we saw it a mile away. Everything's going right. Couldn't be better. Justin Jefferson's down. Oh, all right, that sucks. Immediate Aaron Jones fumble on the 1-yard line. All right, this is horrible. 99-yard touchdown drive. All of these things going against us the way it always does. Every single time. When you believe as a Viking fan, you have your hope instantly taken away. But not to Sam Darnold today. Not today for Sam Darnold, who responded with, I think, possibly the best drive of his entire career, Jack. A 14-play, 62-yard drive, eating up 6 minutes and 46 seconds. Getting us right down to the 5-yard line before, of course, we need to make a few mistakes. Get down to the 5-yard line, and we have a Will Reichard field goal to make it a 9-point game. And from there, not really coasting, but from there, we go on and win the game. I thought Sam...
without Justin Jefferson,
without Justin Jefferson, without TJ Hawkinson, basically without Aaron Jones, without...
No Jordan Addison.
It was all backups and Sam Darnold going against the best team in football. And he put the team on his back and won the game. I was really impressed with that drive, the entire performance from Sam. It's I mean, Jack, I don't know what you saw.
I mean, speaking of Will Reichard, though, he's my fantasy kicker.
Machine.
That was your advice. Got him in the last round. I mean, you had 12 points today.
I give charity.
Yeah. Paul, you understand, this is what I said before the season started. This is the Sammy D, Sam the Man revenge tour. Check 1, go back to MetLife, where everybody hates you and thinks you stink. Beat the Giants by 20 points.
1.
Step 2, prove that you shouldn't have been Brock Purdy's backup.
2.
And beat the 49ers. Step 2. Step 3, I think, is the Jets, right?
Jets in London.
Former team. This is the Sam Darnold revenge tour, and he looks flat out awesome. This guy's a good quarterback. He's been a part of 2 black cloud organizations, like the Jets and like the Panthers. Now he's got a decent team around him, and I've known all along this guy is a good quarterback, and I'm on board. I'm all for it.
This is what's so puzzling, though. The formula is combine a historic loser franchise with a historic loser quarterback. And I'll be honest, right? I'm a jaded Vikings fan. I thought for sure this was going to be a miserable start to the season. JJ McCarthy's out. Everything's going poorly. But no, Sam Darnold has stepped in. He's shown that he can do it. Obviously, it's nice to have Justin Jefferson. You can complete a 97-yard touchdown, too. But they did a good job without him. And the best news of all, I think, for Vikings fans, besides obviously the huge win, is that it's just a quad contusion. Justin Jefferson should be ready to play next week. Maybe it'll be one more week. But I was worried, Justin Jefferson, Nick Bosa got hurt on the same play, but Bosa gets up, Jefferson's down on the ground. I thought typical Jordan Love gets away with a minor knee injury. Justin Jefferson probably dislocated his kneecap and needs an amputation.
Yeah, right.
I had a dream about that this week where Justin Jefferson goes down in a competitive game and then they just have to cut his leg off. And I thought this might be happening in real time. But no, this is dangerous because the Vikings have some really tough games coming up. But from what we've seen, blowing out a bad team and playing a good game and winning against a very good team, it's hard not to think this team's got a decent chance hosting the Texans and going to Green Bay.
I went to pick up a milkshake during the 1 o'clock games
Little Carvel.
Little Carvel, yeah.
Well, Carvel
And
never hurt anyone.
I get home, settle down, open up the shake, take my first sip, and I see Sam Darnold drop back from the goal line and throw an absolute seed, like 60 yards in the air. I'm like, the last time the Steelers did that might have been like 2013 with Big Ben.
This game had two basically 99-yard touchdown drives. That was kind of crazy. Hey, Ziggy, you know I'm looking at right here on this show. So on this show, we all pick every single game the same this week. It was the first time we've ever had that, probably the last time. But we all had the Vikings. And, there was a little bit, of course, a little bit of bias in that. But I'm looking here. Listen to this. The ESPN experts, Bell, 49ers, Bowen, 49ers, Clay, 49ers, Fowler, 49ers, Graziano, 49ers, Collar, 49ers, Martin, 49ers, Moody, 49ers, Reed, 49ers, Theory, 49ers, Wickersham, 49ers.
I can't blame him.
No one saw this coming.
Except for us.
And it feels pretty good. I mean, that was just a whirlwind of a game. And San Francisco, their ability to just march up and down the field sometimes, all of a sudden they can become unstoppable. So you never feel like you're out of the woods with them. Even up 9 with 3 minutes left, they score before the 2-minute warning, and they're probably going to get the ball back with a chance to kick a field goal. We got fortunate with a couple plays here and there, the Van Ginkel one especially. But I'm telling you, sitting back here at 2-0 with the Vikings right now, I'm still hesitant to really buy in because we all know the rule with the Vikings. When you buy in, that's when they hurt you. But here they are. Here they are about to host the Texans next week. And if they win that game,
they are going to win that game.
If they win that game too, the way the defense is flying around all over the field, hopefully Dallas Turner's okay. It's 6 sacks today, a lot of timely sacks, turning the ball over. Brian Flores and Kevin O'Connell are right now both having, coach of the year kind of seasons on the offensive and defensive side. It's what?
Okay. Your Uncle Jeff was like, oh, no, absolutely not.
What's that talking me? O'Connell and Flores right now? Two games. It's just 2 games. But I'm just saying, so far, so good. Ziggy, before we get off the Vikings, I just want to ask you, because this is what Vikings fans are going to be saying. Is the Super Bowl on?
Yeah.
I mean, is the Super Bowl on? I think that's a little bit aggressive.
A little bit.
But, I mean, you look at this. Here's the thing about the Vikings is in the next 4 weeks, they play the Texans, the Packers, the Jets, and the Lions. So that's 2 of the best teams in the AFC, or at least good teams in the AFC in the case of the Jets, and the 2 best teams in the division. If the Vikings need to keep this momentum, and they need to come out of that 4-week stretch at least 500 or better for me to feel comfortable about them making the playoffs. But if this team makes the playoffs and maybe even wins a wild card game, that would be a hugely successful season that shows that all these new playmakers they brought in on defense can get it done, that the offense will be good, whether it's Sam Darnold or JJ McCarthy, and that the coaching knows what they're doing. So I'm not going to get too excited yet. I mean, we saw this Vikings team beat San Francisco last year and what exactly happened with them. But it's hard not to get excited.
It was Kirk's injury last year.
Hey, remember, the most knowledgeable man in all of football has Minnesota 13-4.
Yes, I mean,
just keep that in the back of your mind.
So we're good. So basically, we're good to go because Jack's buying.
The man who
didn't you have the Steelers at like 16-1?
I had the Steelers at 14-3.
Yeah, okay.
And right now, 1-0. Right now, 1-0.
That'd be 2-0. Yeah, that'd be 2-0.
No, I'm really happy for Sam Darnold. He looks good. He looks very, very good through 2 games.
If he continues to play it close to this rate, he will be a starter somewhere next year.
Maybe even Minnesota. Maybe even Minnesota. That's what we said at the beginning of the season. How many games does Sam Darnold need to win? How good does he need to play this year for him to come back next season starting? I don't know. Like, he's 27 years old. This guy isn't 35, 36, who it's an easy transition to McCarthy if he plays well. There's still a long way to go. Let's have a little fun overreacting.
He feels older.
Yeah, I mean, he's gotten beat up everywhere he's gone.
He's like a journeyman at this point.
He's 27. He's like a year older than us.
Yeah.
All right, let's move on to the Packers and the Colts. So Green Bay, everyone knows Jordan Love was out this week. Everyone knows that their backs against the wall with Malik Willis, who was 1-2, had never thrown a touchdown pass in his career. The Colts, You have a tough contest against the contest is weird. I never like saying that for
I've never used contest.
Yeah, no, I didn't like that. I didn't like that.
That was weird that came out of your mouth.
Yeah, the Colts, maybe because Colts contest. The Colts had a really tight game against the Texans last week. Everyone expects Houston, who plays on Sunday Night Football tonight, to be awesome this year. And Anthony Richardson had a few wow throws. Most people, again, I'm looking at these ESPN experts, basically everyone except one has the Colts winning this game. Including
as did we.
You
know, actually, I took the Packers.
Did you?
Yeah, I faded myself.
That's sometimes a good decision for you.
Yeah,
I mean,
whenever you bet. But the Colts wind up. So the Colts have a flunker, and the Packers come out and win 16-10, just absolutely destroying Indianapolis on the ground. And that's the one thing we said in our game preview. If you're the Colts, how are you going? How do you beat the Packers with Malik Willis at quarterback? Throw everything at the running game. And somehow still, Josh Jacobs goes 32 carries, 151 yards. And Malik Willis, 6 carries for 41 yards. Jaden Reed, 2 for 37, 261 rushing yards for the Packers in this game. Well, Malik Willis, give credit where it's due, 12 for 14 in the air for 122 and a touchdown. This was just a huge win for Green Bay, who can kind of sit back now, take a sigh of relief. Maybe even now you're thinking, hey, let's go and beat Tennessee next weekend. And then we get Love back potentially for Minnesota, and we have a winning record when that happens. So just a big win for the Packers and a dominant effort up front by that defensive or offensive line.
Well, hold on, chill. If Malik Willis is 2-0 while Love's 0-1, we're bringing back Love or are you rolling with Malik? But we nailed us on the head. Like, we hit this game right on the head.
We picked the Colts to win, Jack.
No, but I'm saying how the Green Bay could win a game like this. And they did exactly what we said they had to do. Like, Malik Willis was fine. He played a clean game, didn't turn it over. He was a game manager.
Actually had some really nice passes. Malik Willis played well.
He played a solid game. No turnovers. Game manager for the most part. They were great on the ground, and their defense played awesome. That's how Green Bay was going to win this game. That's exactly what happened.
They lost one fumble.
And then
and that should have put them up. That should have ended the game on the Josh Jacobs 1 yard line. Fumble.
I took Green Bay because first of all, I had a bad day in college yesterday, so I'm like, all right, whatever I like is turning to dust right now. But they've been hearing all week, right? No Jordan Love, like, oh, the Colts just hung with Houston. This Packers team has no chance. And a lot of times in a spot like that at home, they rise to the occasion, and that's what happened today.
Yeah, it's a Lambeau opener, and the problem with this Colts team, over 2 games now, they've given up 474 rushing yards. The run defense is disastrous.
Horrendous. It's so bad.
And that's when you've got a quarterback like Anthony Richardson who thrives off big plays, but as we saw today, can make big mistakes too. You need to be able to get your team possessions. So letting a team like Green Bay, as you said, put up 261 rushing yards, go 10 for 17 on third down, run 67 plays.
You're the time of possession?
Yeah, the time of possession for the Packers was over 40 minutes.
Yeah, the Packers had the ball for 40 minutes.
Right.
Yeah.
Running up and down that throw.
The game should have been over. Like, it should have been, what, 17?
Should have been 17-0. The game should have been over much earlier.
And Jake was fumbled into the end zone on the 1 yard line.
Yes. It was. Go ahead, Ziggy.
I'm on the base of this game. I am not ready to say that Malik Willis can win the Packers any more games. I think they're going to want Jordan Love back as soon as possible. Mm-hmm. And indeed, you saw from LaFleur's game plan, clearly internally, they do not have much confidence in him, right? Having him only throw 14 times, not really asking him to make many difficult throws. Even like that really nice throw he made to Romeo Doubs was sort of off target. Doubs had to do some acrobatics to get it down.
The touchdown
great catch. Nice, and I mean, a nice play.
But I just mean, was nice.
Yeah, this Malik Willis is not the answer long term. I am not convinced he's very good. But when you're going up against a team like the Colts with that awful run defense, you can make it work. And as they've got the Titans dialed up next week, we'll see what they're able to do. The Titans, not as bad on run defense, but Packers have to be happy with a win. I think there's a lot of optimism that Jordan Love will be back this week. And a 1-1 start is not the worst thing in the world.
No, a 1-1 start. If you told the Packers fans, hey, Jordan Love's going to nearly destroy everything in his knee at the end of the Philly game, but you find yourselves at 1-1 heading into week 3, and it seems like he's okay, you sign that immediately. This was a huge win for Green Bay.
Dude, that throw to Wicks
was nice.
Was awesome. I really nice. For sure that was a pick.
I'm watching that game and I'm thinking to myself, all right, here, like let's get Malik in the game and let's let him f some things up here. and immediately all of a sudden Malik Willis just starts dicing up the Colts. And I tweeted out, of course he goes to the Packers and instantly becomes a Hall of Fame quarterback. It's just something about the Wisconsin air makes you immune to be.
Okay, absolutely. He had 120 passing. He did not dice up anybody.
No, but he had a few really nice.
There's only like one incompletion though.
There was you know what? Also, you got to give credit. Even though the Green Bay defense gave up a lot of yards, they turned over Anthony Richardson 3 times, 3 interceptions. They they were getting after him. They limited the explosive plays last week. That's the whole calling card for Indianapolis against Houston, was watching these unbelievable Richardson plays where he just, throwing 70 yards downfield to Alec Pierce. Green Bay limited that. And I'm looking at the drive chart here. A lot of 3 and outs. Start the game, 3 and out, interception, 3 and out, on turnover on downs, field goal, missed field goal, interception. Like, the Green Bay defense gave up a lot of yards, but played well. This was a perfect rebound spot for a Packer team that needed a win and needed some faith. I think they're right back in, unfortunately, a very good position. When Love gets back, they're going to be a problem this year.
I mean, if Malik's 2-0, I'm not even bringing Love back.
How about we?
There goes the Ziggy eye roll.
How about we go over to? Hey, how about we clap it up also for the Tampa Bay Buccaneers? Another Jack take. I guess that was a year ago, but I won't count it this year. You've been on them for a while.
But I've been on them for a bit. Yeah.
We said there were a few teams that had the opportunity. This was my prove me right team, were the Tampa Bay Buccaneers this week. I said I couldn't believe that I had them in the playoffs when I went through and laid out every single team in the NFL's game by game prediction. I had Tampa sneaking in as the 7th seed. And I didn't want to do it. It felt wrong, but that was my prediction. So I said, hey, prove me right this week. Go into Detroit, a team that everyone's high on. They just beat the Rams and Stafford in overtime, coming off the NFC Championship season. They beat you last year in that building. Go in there, and you know what? Shut them up. Go win the game. Baker Mayfield and Tampa Bay, the numbers don't jump off the chart in this. Baker's 12 for 19, 185 yards, 1 touchdown, 1 pick. It was ugly. It wasn't really pretty football, but they wound up getting a win over Detroit in their own building to go to 2-0. And this Bucs team, I think you have to seriously start taking them as a Super Bowl contender, right?
Well,
you beat
the Bucs were frankly lucky to win this game. They gained 210 yards to the Lions 460. They were 2 for 10 on third down to the Lions 7-17. They gave up 5 sacks to the Lions 0. They punted 5 times to the Lions 2. Like, they won the game fair and square. I'm not saying that. But if you have an offense that's gaining half the yards, that's converting 20% of your third downs, that's giving up a bunch of sacks, that's punting more than twice as often as your opponent, you're not going to win a whole lot of games playing.
Ye of little faith.
But this
Ziggy.
This Bucs team is good, though. Like, we're forgetting last season, right? They made the divisional round in Detroit. The score ended up being, 14? I thought it was much, much closer.
Well, it was, yeah. I mean, like, Detroit scored late.
Yeah, they felt like they should have won that game and got to the NFC Championship game. So now to start 2-0, the narrative's going to be, most likely amongst most people, maybe Detroit's a bit overrated. But this Tampa Bay team's a good squad. Then they showed it last year, too.
You know who they have coming? So here's who they have coming up here. They have Denver next week at home. That's a win. They host Philly, who they murdered in that building in the playoffs, but that'll be closer. Then they go to Atlanta. They go to New Orleans. The Bucs, it's not the easiest schedule, those last 3 there, but you have your shot to really put your foot down on this NFC South against Atlanta, against New Orleans in their building. It's a great opportunity for them. And Chris Godwin is also having a little bit of a resurgence. I know he's always good, but I'm watching it. 7 receptions, 117 yards, a touchdown. They have a bunch of weapons all over the field. I like Tampa. I'm starting to feel it.
Did you know Chris Godwin's real name is Rod?
I did not.
I just found it out. Yes, he could have been Nick. He could have been gone by Rod God. Yeah, instead he chooses Chris. His name is Rod Christopher Godwin.
So Ziggy, you're saying slow down, slow your roll on.
Here's why the Buccaneers won this game. They held the Lions to 1 for 7 on red zone offense. Now that's very good, and credit to the defense for that. But you are unlikely to hold even the Lions or the best teams in the NFC to that kind of number. And the Lions dominated the Buccaneers in basically every other category. Now, look, again, before the angry Buccaneers fans are already here, but they won the game. They deserved to win this game. They really held the Lions when it counted. But you need to play better than this if you want to be. I mean, you asked, is the Super Bowl on?
If you want to be a Super Bowl contender, yes.
And that's, at this point, I think that's probably what the Buccaneers are saying. I think the bigger takeaway from this game is not from the Buccaneers side, it's from the Lions side. This is 2 games now where Jared Goff hasn't been good enough to get it done. You know, they were fortunate to win the Rams game, but Jared Goff didn't seem good enough there. And here, Jared Goff really was a huge problem. The Lions offense does not look like it's at 100%.
What are you saying?
Are you saying the Vikings best team in the North?
Are you saying problems in Detroit?
I'm saying, I mean, ask any Lions fan. I'm sure we've got plenty of Lions fans on this show. They can comment right now. I would bet Lions fans are starting to feel nervous.
I mean, this was also, it's a tough start for Detroit. You play the 2 teams who knocked out of the playoffs last year.
Who had this game circled the entire offseason.
Yeah, so that's not easy.
I mean, you say they had the game circled, but it's the first and second game of the season. The Lions should be very prepared for
The Lions should also have that circle.
Yeah, meanwhile, Jared Goff starts out 500 yards, which is nice, 1 touchdown, 3 interceptions, not getting it done in the red zone. Like, it was a disastrous game for him.
Right after you hand him this massive contract, too. Well, first off, I want to make it clear, before I go down a road that, you know, it's going to piss people off. I think the Lions are fine. Aiden Hutchinson is a beast. Oh my God, is he?
He was half a sack away from the single game sack record for the Lions, and that's pretty good.
Yeah, he had 4.5 sacks. I didn't realize he had 4.5 sacks. Like, every time I looked up, he was in the backfield. But yeah, no, he has elevated his game. Right now, he's in that same conversation as, you know, Myles Garrett, TJ Watt, and those guys. Even if you're not ready to go there, I'm telling you, you need to get there because he's just been a monster the first 2 games. I'm not ready to hit any panic buttons on Detroit because of what you said earlier off the top of this segment, that they outplayed Tampa Bay. Like they you know, all the statistics are in their favor. Just one of those games that got away from them. Like the games they were winning a lot of last year as well. But you know, I'm happy about it because they're at the top of the NFC North. They are the Minnesota Vikings.
I mean, it's going back to the Bucs too. Like, it's thinking about it again. It is difficult not to maybe teeter on that line of Super Bowl contender.
Oh, I'm a Bucs fan. Like, I'm totally there.
Like, yeah, why not? Because you look what happened down in Dallas, right? Dallas just got blown out. They were a contender in most people's eyes. The Lions are too, and the Bucs went in there and beat them.
Maybe the Super Bowl is on in Minnesota.
maybe.
I think right. Talk about maybe it's on in Minnesota too. You never know.
There are 3 teams. There are 3 teams in the NFC right now who are 2-0. And right, correct me if I'm wrong. It's
Minnesota.
It's Minnesota. The Bucs. And somehow
the Saints,
the New Orleans Saints.
Yeah.
Don't forget the Seahawks.
Oh, the Seahawks. I'm sorry. The Seahawks as well. And the Seahawks, I'm not ready to get there with them because they've beaten Denver and New England. Just, it doesn't feel.
Dub's a dub, though. Dub's a dub.
Oh, Dub's a dub.
Dub's a dub.
Dub's a dub. But
sure, but the harder games come later.
They got good salmon out in Seattle.
It's so let's go to the Saints and the Cowboys because this is another one. Was it someone? I think it was mine as well, right? I said prove me wrong. So both of my prove me rights and prove me wrongs, they both hit. The Bucs went in and won in Detroit.
Oh, you're a beast.
And then you're a beast. Maybe I'm just on to it. Maybe this whole show is on.
Tap yourself on the back. You're a beast.
And then I said New Orleans, we hated them. I'm pretty sure Ziggy at one point had me belly laughing because he said this team sucks. And I said, you know what, Saints, we're going to Dallas. Prove me wrong. Prove me wrong this week because I don't believe in you. Ziggy doesn't believe in you. Jack doesn't believe in you. Go into Dallas and beat the Cowboys after their impressive win in Cleveland. And holy crap. I mean, they were up 35-16 at halftime. My boss tweeted out, it's early in the season, but the Saints look like they may be the greatest team ever assembled.
Yeah, I'm not an ESPN guy, but they've had 15 possessions this season and have scored 15 times. Yeah. That might be something of a record.
I saw that too. I'm like, wait a minute. Like, how is that? That's like seems impossible.
The offense, just listen to this. Here are their drives. Just 7 plays, 80 yards, touchdown. 1 play, 70 yards, touchdown. 4 plays, 70 yards, touchdown. 11 plays, 70 yards, touchdown. 3 plays, 20 yards, touchdown. 13 plays, 70 yards, touchdown. Interception, punt, field goal, end game. But I mean, you just start off 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 straight drives with a touchdown. All of them 70-yard drives, basically. Just amazing from Derek Carr and this offense. Alvin Kamara, 20 carries, 115 yards, 3 touchdowns.
We also have like the new Tyreek Hill in New Orleans. That guy, Raheed Shaheed.
You got that. It's literally right here. Rashid
Shaheed.
Yeah,
he's amazing. Like this Derek Carr to I got to read it again. Rashid Shaheed combo is like the next Mahomes to Tyreek Hill in my eyes.
But Olave's there. Kamara. I was high on Kamara this entire offseason. He's going to get so many touches all year. He had 2 catches for 65 yards and a touchdown as well. A 4-touchdown game. You know, one of those fantasy games that he has where he just completely carries you. But the Saints, you know, offensively and defensively, we have to point that out too. The Cowboys have a really explosive offense, and they had a couple big plays today. But to hold them under 20 points and to go off for 44 on one of the better defenses in the National Football League in many people's eyes, the Saints, out of the Bucs, the Vikings, and the Saints, which one of those teams, guys, are you most comfortable saying, okay, they're legit? It has to be the Saints, right? The Saints.
I mean, veteran quarterback Derek Carr. Yeah, I mean, you know he's not bad. I'd probably go New Orleans. Superstar running back. I know it doesn't matter. He's a receiver too. I'd probably go New Orleans.
It is so hard to win a game by. Yeah, it's so hard to win a game by 20 or more points in the NFL. It doesn't matter who you're playing. To win by 37 and then by 25. And that 25 against a team that a lot of people had going to the Super Bowl or going to the NFC Championship game. I mean, they'll get to show it again over the next few weeks, right? They've got the Eagles, the Falcons, and the Chiefs. But the way they are playing, I don't think anybody had them starting this hot. And again, when you're winning games by 10, 15, 20, 25, freaking 40 points, who can doubt them anymore?
It's Raheed Shaheed.
So out of those 3 teams, Ziggy, you're saying the Saints are your most legit at the moment?
I don't think any team in the NFL has had a better start to the season than the Saints.
No one.
It's so funny too. I feel like Dallas does this too. It's like every year they just lay a clunker and get murdered. It's like, oh, like what the hell, Dallas?
And then they'll come back.
And then they'll come back and be fine. Yeah, but it's just funny seeing week 2 lose by 30 points.
I mean, this was just a really impressive. Every time you looked up on the screen, there was someone running downfield.
100%. The Saints dominated them.
The
Saints look great.
Well, who's Dallas got next? Do we have that the Cowboys schedule here? This isn't a professional show. We don't have people.
Yeah, the Cowboys play the Ravens next week.
Oh,
they host the Ravens.
They host the Ravens.
The Ravens stink.
2 teams coming off a loss. That's a big spot.
No, I mean that is a game for 2 teams that have had incredibly disappointing starts to the seasons. They're trying to turn it around.
There are a lot of people, and I think they're crazy still, but there are a lot of people who were down on the Cowboys going into the season, saying they weren't a playoff team. You know, one of my coworkers, I placed a bet for him to have Dallas miss the playoffs. I thought he was a lunatic. They have, over the next 5 games, they have Baltimore, the Giants, at Pittsburgh, host the Lions, at the 49ers. I mean, that's 4 tough games right there.
I see
the Giants.
I see 1 and 3.
It's a tough slate, and they gotta. Even though we think they're very good, losing by 25 at home does raise some eyebrows. I mean, that's a concerning loss. So, a huge day for the Saints. Huge day for the NFC South. The Saints and the Bucs, man. When everyone was saying that the Falcons were a gimme to win this division.
Yeah, like Ziggy said pre-show, it might be a 2-team race in the South, not involving Atlanta.
Crazy. How many people would have thought that? Well, we have to see. I'm going to wait on Atlanta until I see them tomorrow night. And that might get ugly. Like that has the makings. Kirk in a primetime game on the road in Philly offense looking good. AJ Brown's out. But that is the makings of a Philly blowout.
Yeah, but you know Kirk sees ghosts in Philly too. You know that place haunts him from a couple of years back.
Yes.
He had one of the worst games of his lives in that building.
Yeah, that's
you don't have to remind us.
I'm sorry.
All right, we got maybe we'll bounce around a little bit more here, just for fun. Well, by the way, we were saying with the Saints last week, are the Saints really good or are the Panthers really bad? And
why not both?
Porque no los dos. Yeah, that's what I'm seeing here. It's 26-3, the Chargers. Great start for the Jim Harbaugh era in Los Angeles. J.K. Dobbins, man. I picked the wrong year to draft him. Last season, I had him on my team. He's out for the year immediately. 17 carries, 131 yards, and a touchdown. Another game, over 200 yards on the ground for LA, 219 on 44 carries. Justin Herbert, he's the happiest man in sports right now. He's just turning around. He's got this monster offensive line throwing people around. And the The Chargers are 2-0 here. Kind of a quiet 2-0 too. They're not beat the Raiders, beat the Panthers, nothing insane, but we saw the Raiders just go and beat Baltimore. So you have to be happy as if you're a Charger fan with this turnaround here, right?
And let's shout out producer Zach. Send us that text this morning in the group chat.
J.K. Dobbins.
Anytime touchdown, J.K. Dobbins. And it's tough to do, right? You look at that whole slate of games, and Zach gives you one pick. From 6 games are going on a 1 o'clock slate, something like that?
Yeah, I think there were
10 games.
Yes. March Madness.
Zach nails JK. I mean, quite remarkable. 130 yards and a touchdown.
No, he's amazing. Producer Zach's amazing. If he's ever on the show again.
If he's on the show again, yeah, you got to. Yeah. But no, I thought nothing about this game. This Panthers team's terrible.
Yeah, but as a Chargers fan, I think you have to be excited about what's happening here, because what have you been saying for years? For years, you've been saying if we just get Justin Herbert a functional run game and a medium defense, he will be one of the better quarterbacks in the NFL and will start winning a bunch of games. Now, again, Jax, you're right. Like, they haven't played the best teams. The Raiders, who knows what they are? The Panthers, we know what they are. But you've seen a functional run game and a decent defense. And when the load is off of Justin Herbert, he still gets to make those wow throws every game. There were a couple of throws this game that really were astounding. But he doesn't have to go out there and throw 45 times and put up 35 points just to have a chance of winning a game.
Yeah, no, if you give Herbert pieces around him, he's shown in his career that, most people think he's a top, 7 quarterback in the NFL. But it's a good start here for LA with the Jim Harbaugh era. I'm ready to see them though play a real game, like a big game. Let's see their schedule real quick.
Bryce Young with 84 yards today. He balled out.
If you're the game you're looking forward to, I don't think it's Steelers next week. I think it's hosting the Chiefs too.
Next week too though at Pittsburgh. That's a challenge. Yeah, they've been pushing people around. You don't go into Pittsburgh and push that team around.
That's our home opener too.
That's your home opener.
We're gonna blow them out.
So we'll get a better idea of the Chargers over the next 2 weeks. As this goes on here. And Bryce Young, I have to say, I've been defending him a lot. Jack's been anti-Bryce from the very start. This is getting tough to watch.
You have to admit that
he's worse. He's gotten worse.
You got to admit I was right about him.
Yeah, and I'm not even, we talked a lot about the new pieces, Deontay Johnson coming in. Jonathan Brooks will hopefully eventually play. I'm starting to question that stash in fantasy because their offense is just putrid. But we talked about who's the rookie there? I don't even see him on the Leggett. Did Leggett play today? Did Xavier Leggett even play?
I haven't heard a word about Leggett the first 2 weeks.
Can we confirm? Was he active? Xavier Leggett?
He did start.
He started. All right, he's not on the stat sheet, so I don't know what the hell is going on with the Carolina Panthers. Every now and then, I would just look up at the TV and see Bryce Young getting just mauled by someone or throwing an interception. It's bad. It's almost like jump ship bad if you're a Panthers fan right now. It's horrendous.
Guess you saw it coming, this guy right here.
No, you did. Yeah, you're the best mind in football. It's somehow.
This is just something that is true. Is you cannot make a bad player good by giving him decent coaching and weapons around him. You have to have some.
I just didn't think he was that bad. I didn't think he was this bad. And
I think that's what's shocking, right? Is Bryce Young this year seems substantially worse than he was last year. Bryce Young wasn't great last year, but he had some good games, right? He played a great game against the Packers. They played some competitive games at home. Again, it wasn't outstanding. They beat the Texans.
Ziggy, they lost 73-13 in 2 games. 73-13.
And they haven't even gotten the garbage time
on the last play of the game or something. No, they scored in the 3rd quarter.
I legitimately think, and some people will come after me here.
This is going to be the stupidest thing in the world, and it's going to be right.
If it's a Saturday night,
oh no,
and the Carolina Panthers go to University of Tennessee, I think Tennessee's favored and blow them out. I'm not even kidding. I think this guy Bryce Young would be terrible. Tennessee picks him up 2-3
This guy
times.
Bryce Young lit up the University.
The Heisman Trophy winner Bryce Young.
Yeah, everyone who played in college, everyone good. He lost it. Everyone good he lost to in college.
There's no way you're going to look at the Tennessee game from 2022 and say that's on Bryce Young when they put up 48 points.
Tennessee beat him. He was better then. Tennessee beat him then.
You know, Bryce Young, if you say he lost every big game, for Bryce Young, what pisses me off.
He did. LSU.
No.
Georgia. Georgia got murdered.
No. The big game he won against Georgia.
This guy stinks.
Remember he had the chance if they lost to Georgia when Georgia was undefeated. Notre Dame gets in the playoff. Of course, that was the one game that they freaking won.
He throws 4 picks in Tennessee if he goes Saturday night there. 4.
He probably throws. Honestly, like this is a great bit, but if Bryce Young went into Tennessee, what do you think he puts up?
I think he'd be bad.
Shut up.
I'm serious. I think
12 touchdowns.
No, I think at Tennessee,
with an
at
NFL
Ole Miss,
roster,
at Texas, I think he throws like 1 touchdown, 3 picks. I'm serious.
So speaking of upsets, speaking of upsets, Uncle Jeff's Raiders. One more time, we'll top it up. Uncle Jeff,
drive it up, baby.
26-23. Uncle Jeff. When I watch Viking games, I am the definition of optimism. I am consistently looking for ways to make the good out of a bad situation. I expect things to go our way, even when the dark clouds come rolling in. I am a beacon of sunshine to watch games with. And anyone I watch games with can confirm.
And you're a cute guy, too.
And I'm a cute guy. Anyone that I watch games with can confirm that. Meanwhile, my Uncle Jeff sitting over here, Gardner Minshew this, Gardner Minshew that, Devontae Adams horrendous, and all of a sudden you look up and you see a fourth quarter comeback and the Raiders are winning the game 26-23 over the Baltimore. No, I'm just kidding with Uncle Jeff. He wasn't that bad, and Minshew really didn't play that well. But for a 26-23 win, for a game where it really felt the Raiders had no chance at all up until the very, very end, you looked up and you went, "Holy crap! How they're kicking a game-winning field goal." It was concerning if you're a Ravens fan for sure, because they have these clunkers in Baltimore, and Lamar is amazing. He'll make every single game. He has a few plays that you just go, no one else in the league, no one can do what he just did. But they're susceptible, except Mahomes. They're susceptible to these games where they just, they'll lose to the Raiders, and I don't want to throw shade at the Raiders, but yeah, I know, but I don't know. Is it Baltimore? Like, Jack, what do you see that you don't like?
Wait, before can I ask a stupid question?
I can't reveal my secrets.
What?
How did the Ravens lost the time of possession battle, right? The Raiders had 31 minutes. The Ravens had 29.
Yeah.
Yes.
How is that possible when the Raiders had 27 rushing yards?
I don't know.
You look at this performance, it's like, how did this happen?
Yeah, Raiders Ziggy. 1 time of possession, they had 27 rushing yards.
Ziggy, you and I both said before the season started, this team is overrated. We had them coming in last in the AFC North, you and I.
That is a great point, Ziggy. Baltimore outgained them on the ground by 124 yards and still lost the time of possession. Kind of weird.
They have a QB who can't pass the ball. I've said it for years.
Yeah,
this guy's a great runner.
I think that's a little aggressive.
I don't know, man. This team. Look when he plays my guys. He's 1-7 against us. Good front seven.
That's a crazy stat.
Yeah,
1-7 against
forcing the pass. Good front seven. He can't.
But listen to this for the Ravens here. They're 0-2. Everyone thinks that they're a good football team, right? We all agree. Oh, you don't. I'm sorry.
I don't really. I think they're okay.
You like the Ravens?
Yeah, they're not. No, Jack certainly doesn't think they're a bad.
No, they're not. They're not bad. I don't think they're great.
Oh, real quick. How about in our joint power rankings? By the way, the team we left out, the Cowboys. I mean, it doesn't look so bad now.
The team we put in, the Bills.
It's the 3 best minds in football.
Yeah, you put the 3 of us together. It's special.
Or it's like 3 dumbest and 3 wrongs make it right. Yeah, that could be the.
But the Ravens sit here 0-2, and people might you might just assume, the Ravens are 1-1, but no, they lost that game in Kansas City, at Dallas next week, hosting Buffalo, at Cincinnati.
That could legit be 0-5.
Then they host the Commanders. You think they win that? At Tampa Bay, at Cleveland.
Yeah, it could be 1-7.
I don't know. The more I scroll down and look at this, at Texas. Host the Eagles, at Steelers, at Chargers, more AFC North. This is, I have my alarm 1 to 10, 10 being like this is catastrophic in Baltimore.
9.
I think I'd put it like a 7.
9. The schedule is hard. Their quarterback can't pass. They stink.
I'm at 7. 9. If they lose next week, it's all the way up.
The thing is though, to play, on the other side of the ball, which I don't want to do, is last year they were what? They laid a clunker at home against the Colts, right? They lost at home to the Colts as 8-point favorites, 9-point favorites.
That's exactly.
And they went 13-4 and got the number 1 seed. So that's why.
Yeah, they did go into San Francisco and
destroy the Niners. Yeah. So that's the other side of the stick, the shtick.
Yeah, I don't want to take credit away from the Raiders though. That's a really good win. And we said most people were super down on the Raiders this year, but that's a team with a lot of talent. Max Crosby's an animal. Devontae Adams is one of the best receivers in football. And regardless of what Uncle Jeff says, I think Gardner Minshew can win some football games. He might not win them all, but he's gonna do he'll for the most part he'll keep it competitive. And the AFC West now, 2-0 Chargers, 1-1 Raiders, and you're gonna have the Chiefs. Probably, well, they're playing right now, but probably a 2-0.
I mean, also real quick,
AFC West and NFC South, proving people wrong.
Look at the AFC North. We're gonna have 0-2, 0-2, and then Pittsburgh 2-0.
Yeah, are you? Wait,
the Bengals lose.
The Browns are 1-1.
Well, yeah, but assuming the Bengals lose Kansas City.
Yeah.
We're recording that right now.
Yeah, and then the
Ravens are 0-2, and assuming we beat Denver.
I'm so disappointed in the Jaguars. Like, what the hell? That was one.
Are we just going to the next game?
Yeah, we're just all over the place here. It's a reaction. It's chaotic. It's like
it's a natural transition. Let's go to that Jaguars game.
You change your stadium name to Trevor Bank Stadium, and you lose at home to the Browns and score 13 points. That's one of the lamest things possible.
Trevor Lawrence is starting to concern me a little bit. A la Uncle Jeff's take as well. 14 for 30, 220 yards, no touchdowns, no picks. This offense feels dead. Travis Etienne, I know he had a touchdown, but 13 carries for 52 yards after a week where he really didn't do that much. He fumbled against Miami in a game. He goes in the end zone there. They might win that game. I don't know. Jacksonville has to be one of the most disappointing starts to the season this year. This is a bad loss.
It's not like the Browns lit the world on fire.
Defense.
What was have 170 yards passing?
They have a great defense.
They do. And we're a bit down on them, I think now, more so after last week getting blown out at home by the Cowboys. But this Cleveland team is half decent. But still, to lay a total clunker in your home opener off a loss and now to fall to 0-2 in a division with Houston.
What are they? They're like 1-8 in their last 9 games going back to last season.
It's not good.
And
it's clear that in Jacksonville there are some coaching problems, right? Like you've got Travis Etienne coming out after the game saying we've got enough talent, we need harder workers.
They need Urban Meyer. That's who they need.
Yeah, no, Urban Meyer would get this team motivated. Look, you had the Colts, Jaguars, and Titans, and all of these teams were trying to argue over who's getting second in the division. Now all of them are 0-2. There's a lot going on here, but I don't know. It's tough in Jacksonville. And again, the schedule, you look at it does not light up, right? You have to go to Buffalo next week. You got to go to Houston the week after. Things could start spiraling for this team.
Yeah, the Texans are about to run away with this division.
And what's the stat? Isn't there a stat? There's a huge difference in starting 0-2 versus 0-3. We're like 0-3, what's your playoff chances?
Each one it's
like
0-2 you can come back.
Yeah, 0-2 you can come back. That's what I'm saying. But like now it gets like these games get very, very big.
Maybe this was just the Deshaun Watson kryptonite game. He's 7-0 against the Jaguars.
This was too.
See, Ziggy, that's the kind of thing you need to say on the show, in the preview show. We need that stat. If Deshaun Watson.
I'm not pulling that out before the game because the Deshaun Watson that went 6-0 against the Jaguars is not the same Deshaun Watson we're seeing now.
This was 2 Clemson quarterbacks going at it.
Deshaun Watson turning his life around. Okay, we're finishing up with we're going to wrap up here. Commanders beat the Giants 21-18. Don't need to talk about that until they deserve, a little bit more of our attention.
Here's all I will say. Jaden Daniels has looked the best of the rookie quarterbacks, and this was yet another time where Jaden Daniels got it done.
Agree. Our friend Mike's calling for the Giants to go 0-17. He doesn't care how embarrassing it is. He says 0-17. I want it. He needs it.
It's a tank for Jackson Dart.
Seattle 23-20 over New England. Since they've beaten only the Patriots and the Broncos right now, I'm not willing to, we said earlier on the show, not willing to really dive in on Seattle yet. But take care of the games. Winning's hard. So the last game here, we're going to wrap up. The Jets get a big win, 24-17. Our friend Andrew said he would have been done. done with the Jets if they lose to Tennessee. And Jack was
I
feeling
thought
good.
they were losing.
Jack was feeling good around halftime, 10-7.
Feeling good.
Jack sending text messages. You're saying, hey, these guys.
I was starting to get cocky. I sent my friend, Andrew's dad. I said Mississippi State would beat this team 0-2 in the first quarter when it was 7-zip.
And the Jets defense did not look good off.
Shame. I mean, no, it should have been 14-0 Titans. So they turned it over in the red zone on the second drive.
The Titans, again, another really disappointing 0-2 team who they have to feel like they had 2 games.
Yeah, 2 games won.
Yeah, 2 plays go differently. This team is 2-0 and fighting for the division, just like I predicted.
Yeah, and now the Jets here at 1-1. Aaron Rodgers hasn't come out and lit the world on fire or anything, but this was a good bounce back where. Just to get a win, because we know the Jets have a difficult schedule, I believe, to end the season, right? Let me just confirm that. So they just have an easy schedule the whole year.
I mean, there's some benefits to playing a funny season, but no, I mean, there's some tough games here. It's just, I will say, from what we've seen from the Jets these first 2 weeks, I think there's an okay chance they make the playoffs, but I do not think this team is a serious contender.
Through 2 weeks.
Yeah, it doesn't look good at all.
Through 2 weeks, if you watch all the AFC teams playing, or all the AFC East teams playing right now, Buffalo looks awesome and deserving of that number 2 spot that Ziggy gave them on our joint power rankings. The Jets, you're kind of going, oh, I need to see more. I was hoping for more as someone who got on the bandwagon and picked them to win the division. The Dolphins, it all depends on Tua here. We don't know what's going to happen.
I'm not sure it does depend on Tua.
I might be out of them.
I'm sorry. I'm out on them even if Tua does come back because they can't. They've shown an inability to win big games.
As a huge Dolphins supporter too for a couple of years, they've let me down.
But if Tua's out, you're right. Skylar Thompson, this could get ugly.
And then New England is actually playing really well. Like New England's playing good football. They're 1-1. They could have easily been 2-0. I think the order of most impressive to least impressive would probably go Buffalo, New England, Jets, Dolphins. I mean, depends on your depends. Yeah,
flip flop those two.
So we were dumb. I was dumb forever. You try and get a little fun on these shows. You try not to be boring. And at the end of the day, is Josh Allen's awesome, and the rest of that division just sucks. So.
Yeah. Well, there's a big game coming up, right? Next week is Patriots at Jets. And the Patriots, when the last time they lost to the Jets outside of overtime was?
1983.
At New York. 2010.
Yeah. Okay.
It's been 14 years since they lost at MetLife outside of overtime. They had 2 overtime losses in 2013 and 2015. Wow. Otherwise, straight W's since then. That's some bad juju.
Wow.
And I don't think anybody expected it early, but this game could have serious implications for the division.
Yep. Yeah. Yep. So you got to pay attention to the Thursday night game this week. All right. Thanks, everyone, for tuning in. It's been a week 2 reaction on the Paul Farrington Show. We appreciate everyone, all the support. Please remember to like, comment, subscribe. Ziggy and I will probably be back after the Texans-Bears later tonight. That's going to be a really fun game. Get to see two exciting young quarterbacks, Caleb Williams and DJ Stroud.
One good one guy who sucks.
All right. We'll see you guys next time. Peace.